Hello patrons, this is not your monthly video. If you haven't seen the monthly video, go watch it. It should be out at this point in time. This is a little extra because, well, let me explain. Today, it's the end of the day, but today we went to the island of Santorini. It was absolutely beautiful. And when we arrived, we took a bus up to the village of Ia. Absolutely stunning, astounding, beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to see this vlog, the full vlog. But on the way up there, we had a tour guide who gave us a lot of interesting information, and I filmed the entire thing. For one, because it was really interesting, but also, number two, I knew I wasn't going to be able to include everything, so I just decided to film as much as I could, and then I knew I'd pick out the parts that I thought were most important later, because I don't want the vlog to be super long. But since I filmed it all, I figured, well, someone should enjoy this, because it really is interesting information. So this is just a little extra. I mean, us doing the Patreon video at Patmos it's cool, but it doesn't really show you any kind of Greek stuff. So this will be an extra that just won't be on the vlog. Obviously, I'm going to pick out parts of the tour and show that on the vlog, but this is the entire unedited thing. I don't know how long it is. I don't remember at this moment in time. I think it's like 30 minutes. It's really cool information. If you want to watch it, you can. If you don't, you can just wait for the vlog, which will be cut down. But I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to do something a little extra for you guys, so this is that. So without further ado, enjoy, and of course I'll see you guys next month for another Patreon video.
Kalispera, Kalispera, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to the beautiful island of Santorini. The island which, by the way, is also known as the Black Pearl of the Aegean Sea, and that's due to the fact that everything you're looking at today is volcanic. The whole island is a volcano. Now, an introduction to myself. My name is Lynn. Pleased to meet you all. Are you all enjoying your cruise?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And of course, let's not forget the person who's driving us around on the excursion today. This is Manolis, everybody.
Hi,
on my
Manolis.
left-hand side. So Yasu Manoli. It's hello Manolis. Yasu Manoli. So everyone, we're just now climbing up to a height of almost 300 meters above sea level. That's around about 925 feet. We have quite a few turns to go around before we actually arrive at the very top, leaving behind us the commercial port of the island, which is called Athenios. That's the name of the place that we just brought you into.
Oh my God.
Now, I suppose you'd like to know where the volcano is, everybody? If you haven't already figured this out for yourselves, well, if you look over now onto your right-hand side, the very first massive black rock that you can see, the one that's closest to us now, this is our volcano. This is an active volcano. It goes by the name of Nea Kameni. In English, translating as the newly burned island, Nea Kameni. The last volcanic explosion was yesterday afternoon. No, not really. No. Don't worry. The last volcanic explosion was 1950. No worries there, though. 1950 last explosion. That, by the way, was an explosion that lasted only 48 hours and caused no devastation whatsoever to the island. So all that, you know, happening on Nea Kameni, there are 9 craters over there. 8 of these craters are extinct, and there is one right in the center, and that is the active one. Of course, by active, we don't mean you can see, you know, lava spurting out of the center. By active, we simply mean a very strong smell of sulfur, and you can also see the steam coming out of the central fumaroles. That's what we mean by active. So all that's happening over there, Nea Kameni Island. By the way, that island is also an island which has been proposed for a place on the World Heritage List by UNESCO. It is such an important part of Greek history. And then behind that, everyone, you can see another island literally in the middle of everything else. That one is called Palia Kameni. In English, the old burnt island. And that's where we have the thermal springs, the hot springs and the mud baths. The locals like to say that if you go there, you know, give yourself a little bit of a facial and come out looking 20 years younger. Our driver's really 95. He goes there quite often. And the temperature of the water at the thermal springs, this is actually ranging from 24 to hot spots of 32 degrees Celsius. So all that's happening on the island of Palya Kameni. And then, just as we turn around this next bend, okay, look at that little island standing all by itself. The smallest one. This is an island which is called Aspro-Nisi. In English, White Island. Now they call this one White Island because this in fact is one of the only islands throughout the whole of Greece which is made of pumice stone. So they call it White Island. And then last but not least, you see this much longer section in the distance there. There's an actual little village on the top, which is called Manolas. 300 people living on the top of that island there, which is called Thirasia. And they live in the little village of Manolas, perched on the top. Now looking down at this beautiful view, everyone, this is what we call a caldera. Now it's actually a Spanish word, and it means cauldron, or literally, you know, a sunken-in crater. You're looking at the second largest naturally made caldera in the world. Santorini is so unique. Now one of the largest calderas in the world can be found at Lake Taupo in New Zealand. That's the largest. And then we have Santorini's caldera, covering an area of 7 miles wide and 14 miles in length. Also, the depths of the waters that you're looking at are extremely deep. They are in fact 400 meters deep at their deepest point. And this was discovered by quite a famous person, Jacques Cousteau. Have you all heard of him? Yeah, I think most of you have. Well, he discovered the depths of the waters here are 400 meters deep. Now if you can just imagine, everyone, that looking down at this beautiful area, this was a huge round volcanic mass. What happened here in the year 1613 BC, around about the late Bronze Age, was one of the largest volcanic disasters to have occurred anywhere in the world in the past 10,000 years. And it happened here on Santorini. Now during that big explosion, this is where more than 83 square kilometers of volcanic land collapsed inwards on itself. And what we're left with today are the 4 islands that you see in the magnificent caldera. Just to give you an idea about how big this explosion actually was, well, volcanic ash from here has been found deep beneath the roots of the Californian redwood trees. And volcanic ash from here has been found 17 meters thick between the layers of ice in Greenland. Volcanologists have placed this explosion on one of the highest scales ever. The highest scale is a VI7. This means Velocity Impact 7, VI. This, however, has been placed on a scale of a VI12. In other words, well off the scale, because they cannot put a number to the amount of pressure that was released. So an absolutely huge volcanic explosion that happened here. And all of this occurring 1613 BC. Right, so we've arrived at the very top, everyone. A little bit different scenery here, of course. Not so dramatic as the scenery we've just experienced, but just as nice. Now let me tell you about where we're going now. Now if you look at the map that's above my head here, you can see, I'm pointing to this to you now. This is the port of Athenios. This is the place where I've just picked you up from. Now we're travelling. We're going to go on the lower road beneath Firas city, which is the capital. And this is where we're going to. This is Ia. And then we're going to just bring you back again and take you to Fira, to the city. Now we have about a 30-minute drive ahead of us to actually arrive in here. But we're actually taking you to one of the most photographed villages throughout the whole of Greece. It's very, very spectacular, and we'll give you plenty of time there to have a good look around. And then of course Fira after that. Also everyone, remember which coach you're travelling on, because we do have, you know, a lot of similar looking coaches doing just about the same excursion. So just remember that my name is Lynn and we're together today on coach number 1. Yes, coach 1 of Olympia, because we do have the other ship in, okay? We do have a sign in front of the window though, and it says, you know, coach 1 Olympia.
And our group names.
And of course the names of our groups. Now, I would like you to look on your left and on your right. Can you see these low-lying plants everywhere? Now these are the grapevines of the island. These are all grapes. Yes, can you see how they're lying on the ground here? They're not growing upwards on trellises like they do, let's say, in France or Australia or California. Now one of the reasons why they're lying on the ground here is because of the very strong wind. Santorini gets very high winds. So what the farmers do here is that they entwine the vine into the shape of a basket. They place the grapes inside this little basket to grow, and then the vine leaves cover the top. So what happens is that it ends up looking like a little nest with a blanket over it, the leaves of the blanket, and the grapes are snuggled deep inside this little nest. So this is, you know, it's a really clever idea, isn't it? Yeah, it's a really good idea of how they can, you know, protect the skins of the grapes from the high winds and, of course, the very high temperatures we get here. Now, all these grapes that you see, they're all picked in August. It's a big time on Santorini. It's called Vedema. Vedema means the harvesting. And that's when all the grapes are picked, and then they are taken to one of the 13 wineries that the island has. If you look right over at everybody now, look all the way to the end of the island in front of us, that's north. That's where we're going to now. That's the beautiful village of Ia. Great view again. Now we're a little bit higher of the volcanic island complex, that's what it's called. Now just in case you're wondering if the volcano is due for any other type of activity, well, you needn't worry, because it isn't. On Santorini's volcano, the temperature beneath the fumaroles, the magma chambers, is between 92 to 98 degrees Celsius. Now, to have a major volcanic explosion, the temperature needs to be 1,000 degrees Celsius upwards. So obviously, you know, we are nowhere near the temperature required for any major explosion. And this is how, you know, volcanologists know that we're very, very safe here. We do get the volcanologists visiting the island of Nea Kameni at least 4 to 5 times a year. Volcanologists from all over Europe come here. They do a lot of research. And also on the volcano, all the latest modern equipment is there. You know, all the latest technology. And, you know, all of this is monitored by the observatory that is in the capital city. So nothing's going to be happening. It simply isn't hot enough. But, of course, they do keep a close watch. It is the rising of the water around the volcano that tells volcanologists if something's going to happen. There are water gorges all around Nea Kameni, and if suddenly there's a huge surge in the rise of the water around the water gorges, that's when we know something's about to kick off. And if you look towards the volcano now, you've got a good view of it. You can actually see the little pathway in the centre there slightly, and the pathway there has been designed for, you know, the tourists to walk on. You can walk on the volcano. The walk to the top takes about 30 minutes, you know, passing all the various craters along the way, before you eventually, you know, get to the middle one. You can smell the sulphur, see the steam. The volcano itself covers 840 acres and stands at a height of 127 meters high. All the lavas you're looking at, these are called pyroclastic lavas. That's the name. Pyroclastic lavas, and it simply means where the hot lava has cooled very, very rapidly. It turns black. When lava cools quickly, it turns black. It didn't stay red as you might expect. So this also tells volcanologists that this explosion possibly happened in the winter time. The environment was cold, the lavas spurted out, they turned black. So another indication, you know, that the volcanic eruption happened in the winter time. So that's what they're called, pyroclastic lavas. Right, so everyone, we're going to be taking you now along the lower roads beneath the city. The total population of Santorini today, according to the census of 2014, is 16,000. Possibly a few more since then, of course. And these people, these 16,000 people, are dispersed throughout the 13 communities of the island. 3 major tourist resorts. These are all situated on the northeast coast of the island, and they are called Kamari, Parissa, Perivolos. Very, very busy places, as you can imagine, this time of year. And of course, one capital city, Fira. Permanent residency there, 2,700. You might have also noticed we don't have that many trees on the island. We have lots of fig trees, we have lots of eucalyptus trees, and we also have these trees on your left and on your right. Do you know what these are? Anybody? Pistachio nuts. This is what they look like before they get put into plastic packets. This is their natural form. These are all pistachio nuts. The island's full of them. Can you look at can you see the nuts on the branches there? Yeah, can you see them all? Each tree, by the way, can produce up to 35 kilos of nuts.
Yeah.
And each tree can live for almost 85 years. And what the locals do, in September they harvest it. They put huge nets around the tree, they beat them with sticks, the nuts fall onto the net, and then they dry them in the hot September sun. It is the heat of the sun that cracks open the shell that enables you to get the nut out from inside. So you know when you open a packet of nuts and you know you sometimes can't get into them because it just hasn't opened, and you know you risk breaking your teeth trying to get into one of them. Well, it's simply because the sun didn't penetrate through the shell. That's why you sometimes find some of them closed. These are fig trees on your left. And we have the nice big purple figs here, you know, the really good ones. Yeah, the nice deep purple ones. They're ready for eating by end of August, the deep purple figs. Literally everything on Santorini is growing without water. We don't have any irrigation here whatsoever. What the island does have though is 70% constant humidity in the evening air. And it's this humidity that provides the roots of the vines and the various vegetables with all the moisture they need to survive. So you could say that everything growing here, you know, has adapted to the very harsh volcanic environment. Also, let's not forget that the volcanic earth is highly fertile. It is very rich in sulfur and magnesium. And these two components, well, they are perfect for the production of grapes and the other big product, which is the cherry tomato. The island not only produces grapes, 4,000 acres worth, 42 different varieties, it also produces sweet cherry tomatoes, it produces capers, lentils, courgettes, cucumbers and eggplant. It produces the unique white eggplant, and that's due to the high amount of sulfur which is in the volcanic earth. The white eggplant. Those are the main products of the island. In fact, we don't have that many, you know, fruit trees, and, you know, orange trees, olive trees, things like that. Most of our fruit, veg and meat comes from other islands, such as Naxos, Crete and mainland Athens. You might have also noticed something else looking up towards the hillsides everywhere, and as we make our way north, you might have noticed that we have a huge amount of churches. We have churches everywhere. The reason why the island does have a lot of churches, by the way, there are said to be more than 400. I don't think anybody's counted them, you know, but there are said to be about 400 churches. I think there possibly are more. But the reason why we have so many churches here is due to the fact that the majority of them are private. They are privately owned by individual families. This is why there are so many. In fact, only 30% of the churches you see today are the very large looking ones. These are the ones that are owned by the Greek Orthodox Church. And the other 70%, these are the small little individual family owned churches. On this island, 95% of the population here are Greek Orthodox and 5% are Catholic. For the Catholic minority, there is a Catholic church next to the cable car. This was built to honour St. John the Baptist. And there's a little Dominican monastery attached to it, and inside there are 13 Catholic nuns residing there from all corners of the world. But of course the Greek Orthodox faith, is the biggest faith throughout the whole of Greece. So as we're just making our way along these little winding roads here, have you all noticed the shape of the buildings? You might have noticed something quite significant. There's a very good example now directly in front of us. Look at this. Can you see this unfinished building? Can you see the rooftops? Now you'll see that 90% of the houses and hotels on this island have this shaped rooftop. It is the curved rooftop. I'm sure you've all noticed that. Now there's a very good reason for this. Not only do they have very strict architectural laws here, they do have a Cycladic architectural law on Santorini. Things have to be built in a certain way. But the arched rooftop, the curved rooftop, is there for a more important reason. It's actually there because it's anti-seismic. It is against earth tremors. Now, I don't want to put you off or anything, but this is a volcanic island and we do sometimes get these little earth tremors. They are so small, you don't even know they're happening. Possibly up to 10 times a year, possibly even more. They are very, very small. 2.1, 2.2 Richter. You don't feel that. Now, Japanese seismologists discovered about 16 years ago that the best type of rooftop to have in a seismic prone area, like what Santorini is, well, it's the curved rooftop. It is actually able to withstand little earth tremors better than any other type of structure. So this is why everything's built in this particular sort of style. It's anti-seismic. So what they do here when they're building, they weave together iron and steel. And this gets woven together very, very tightly. And then they put steel rods in the foundations, through the walls and over the arched rooftops. And this makes the buildings anti-seismic. It makes them especially strong. So this is why, you know, everything looks like this. Well, the majority of them do. You know, there are still some houses and, you know, older looking buildings that haven't gotten round to making their buildings anti-seismic yet. If you look at these structures on the hillside here, look up on your left, these windmills, you'll see them better in just a second. There you go. Aren't these cute? If anybody fancies one of these, they're on the market, by the way, €300,000 each. Anybody fancy one? No comments? Let me know.
No furniture.
No furniture, no. Yeah, they are on the market, yeah. A few have been bought, but they've, you know, they need a bit doing still. Out at sea, all around the Aegean, and particularly around the Cycladic Islands, we are surrounded by the volcanic fault line, which goes by the name of the Hellenic Arc. Now this is where we have the Euro-Asian tectonic plate and the African tectonic plate. Now these two plates every now and again rub together and they cause these little minor earth tremors. This is why this happens. It's the tectonic plates. Also here on Santorini we don't have the yellow, golden, sandy beaches that Greece is so famous for. All of our beaches here are black lava sandy beaches. Now this area that we're taking you past now, look down on your right, this actually isn't one of the best areas. If you look at the coastline here, it's actually not very nice. It's quite rough, it's very rugged, there's big boulders of rock everywhere. But at the coastal resorts, where you have your organised beaches, you know, everything's nice and tidy, there you have beautiful, you know, fine black lava sand. As you can imagine, that sand gets extremely hot in huge temperatures here. The weather on the island, very high temperatures, July and August, especially August the hottest, 36 to 37 Celsius, making the black sand, you know, extremely hot. You daren't walk on it with bare feet.
Could you translate that to Fahrenheit, please?
To Fahrenheit, it's about 103. About 103, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Also we had a bit of snow here in February. The temperatures drop in the winter time. We had quite a bit of rain from December through to end of March, and of course very cold wind. Just as we're going past this area here, everyone, in case you thought that we only had one volcano on the island, well, we don't. We have a very active underwater volcano. Look over now onto your right. This is where we have the underwater volcano called Colombo. Now this is an extremely active underwater volcano. You cannot see it. It's 25 meters beneath the seabed, about 100 meters away from the shoreline, but it is extremely active. This area here on your right, this is the area where volcanologists are keeping a very close watch on. because, you know, it is under the seabed. What they do know, though, is that it is emitting hydrothermal solutions of 525 degrees Celsius. First explosion there, 27th of September 1641. It's been active ever since. Also, I want you to look in front of us now. Can you see all these little walls and terraces everywhere? All these different walls. Nothing historical whatsoever. This is just what the farmers do around the island, especially on the hills, to prevent against soil erosion. Right, so on the last part of the trip to Ia now, the road to Ia rather. At the islands we can see Ios, also known as the Party Island, by the way. We get a lot of young people going over to Ios. It's only an hour away from Santorini. Ios. Next to it we have Sikinos. Beautiful island, Sikinos, and we can't really make it out. Just about directly in front of us now we can make out the island of Folegandros. Ja, Filip was Lennon has some master video on the computer. Ana mistiga mas hindi japonês, ela não. Ela parece que a filha europaico. Puni chiaro.
Cazzo per il da me, questa compra per me. Taxer madre.
Taxer per il dobrani,
Come cartone.
Nee, cartone, nee.
Πήγες ψήφισες μαλάνι. Δεν πρόλαβα. Δεν μπορούσα να το δω.
Όπως το πλοίο μέσα πολλά πράγματα. Εδώ εμείς δεν πήγαμε.
So let me just tell you a little bit about the village of Ia. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most photographed villages throughout the whole of Greece. This area also used to be known as the wealthiest part of the island, and that was because of the shipbuilding industry. A lot of ships being built here for the Eastern Mediterranean fleets. Two big ports used to exist in this area, the ports of Amudi and Armeni. And what the captains did, and the residents, they built beautiful mansions for themselves. They put marble slabs on the pavements in Ia. And this was their way of showing off their great wealth that they had accumulated. However, what happened to this island in the year 1956 was a devastating earthquake. Now this earthquake measures 7.8 Richter, absolutely huge. 48 people were killed and more than 80% of the houses here were destroyed. And the village of Ia was also, partially destroyed. It was affected. The shipyards were destroyed and they were never rebuilt. So nowadays, the village of Ia is simply known as one of the most beautiful parts of the island to visit.
Θα δούμε αναλόγως την κίνηση τώρα γυρά, γιατί αν γυράζουν ένα σωρό κολομίνι πας εκεί.
Right, everyone, whatever you do, don't forget your cameras when you get off. Alright, bring your cameras with you. You're also going to see the cave houses. We have the famous cave houses in Ia. By the way, some of the most expensive real estate throughout the whole of Greece can be found in Santorini and Mykonos. Here, in the village of Ia, we have beautiful houses, cave houses. They're in high demand. I mean, something around here, the property can be anything from 800,000 to 1.5 million euro. It's a, you know, it's a quite an affluent area, I would say. The cave houses in Greek, they're called iposkafa, which literally means under the ground. And these are houses which have been built inside the pumice stone. Beautiful. You'll see all of this because the whole Ear is full of this type of housing. Now the pumice stone keeps the houses very, very cool in the summer and very warm in the winter. So, you know, it acts as an insulator in the winter time and has a cooling effect in the summertime. So you're going to be seeing all of these beautiful, beautiful cave houses. You might have heard, I don't know if you've heard of the Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants. Anybody heard of this movie? Yeah, a few of you? Well, this movie was actually made here, down at Amudi Bay, which is right to the end of Ear. That's where one of the old ports is, and that's where that movie was made. So if you do go down for a little walk today, you do have time. It's literally like 15 minutes from where we're going to be, you know, letting you go for your free time, 15-20 minutes. I'll punch out the direction. And that's where that movie was made, at the port of Amudi. And also Daryl Hannah, Summer Lovers. Anybody heard of that movie? Yeah, and also the movie Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life with Angelina Jolie. Anybody? No? Everybody's out on the town all the time by the sounds of things. Well, anyway, yeah, anyway, so those movies were all made in this this place here in Ear. Right, everyone, we'll find a place to park our coach. Now, our departure will be at 6:50, 10 to 7. 6:50. Can you look over there now, everybody, on your right-hand side? And you can see the coaches there. That's the big tourist coach area. That's where
it's going to be packed.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely packed in like the next, what, 15-20 minutes or something. So 10 to 7, 6:50, that's where our departure will be from.